If you're watching this, I did it. I defied the odds. The universe stacked the deck against me, and yet here I am. At the very least, I think I deserve a like. What am I talking about? Let's rewind a little bit. It's Christmas time, and as that one song says, there's no place like home for the holidays. So that's where I was headed. Buffalo, New York. But then, mere hours before my flight, the kind folks at Van Ryder Games hand-delivered their latest creation to my doorstep. The North Pole Nightmare, a spine-chilling tale of holiday horror. Sure, I'd only have t-shirts for my week-long trip, but what was more important? Reviewing the newest Final Girl game, or wearing pants in the frigid north? So that's where our story begins, with a Ben on a mission to write, film, and edit a review of North Pole Nightmare before his flight leaves in just 7 hours. Oh!
If you're so pressed for time, why'd you spend so long on the intro?
That's actually a great point. Oh well. Now, there's no passage in any lore book for the North Pole Nightmare, and the rule books are pretty sparse with backstory, so I'll do my best, and I'm probably going to make some stuff up. Eons ago, a baby was born. Chubby and smiling with red cheeks and a redder nose. The child was named like 7 different things. Nicholas, Chris, Santa, depends on who you ask. But the mother who gave birth to that child gave birth to another on the very same day. That's right, Santa Claus has a twin. And while the jolly Christmas prince was born smiling, his brother was born snarling. Horns atop his head, a pointed tongue lolling out of his mouth. Krampus was the polar opposite of Santa. Kris Kringle spent his Christmases delivering presents to the good children of the world, as Krampus delivered punishments to the bad ones. Some punishments were more severe than others, and Krampus's list shrunk and shrunk every year. This year, something occurred to Krampus. Perhaps that promise of beautiful toys was encouraging children to be nice and not naughty. Perhaps if those kids didn't receive their toys, they'd act out and find themselves deserving punishments from Krampus. So Krampus went to the source of Christmas joy, the North Pole, with a simple goal: to wipe out Santa and his elves and give the children of the world something to cry about. With that, let's take a look at the Cramp Daddy himself. Krampus differentiates himself from other Final Girl villains because he's a giver, not a taker. After killing anyone in his space, Krampus looks around for the closest warm body to leave them with a gift. The good news here is that his bag and Santa's bag seem to have gotten a little bit mixed up. You might crack open a present only to find that it's empty. Just as you begin to walk away disappointed, Krampus himself springs out of the box and attacks, leaving you so shocked that you can't play reaction cards. Or you could find a letter from Santa himself, a letter so comforting that you drop the horror level to 0, no matter how high up it was. The trick is that in order to get one of these incredibly beneficial presents, you have to be the one to open them. If one of the elves unwraps a box that happens to be from Santa, the bonus is lost, as the elf keeps that gift for themselves. This was a super fun element of the game. Most of the gifts are quite bad, but the good ones are so good that you still find yourself tempted to open a box when you see it, which is, of course, exactly what Krampus wants. And then there's Santa's Village, a lovely locale filled with overly friendly residents, the elves. On a normal day, their cheery disposition would be a surefire way to get anyone in the Christmas spirit. On the day that Krampus is attacking, the elves are nothing but a distraction, and distractions can be dangerous in do-or-die moments. Every time the Final Girl enters a space with victims, she loses 1 time for each victim in that space. The elves are physically incapable of not talking your ear off, even when there's a horned devil stalking the snowy streets. Combine these thematic victims with instantly iconic items, and you've got yourself a recipe for a great Final Girl location. You might find a BB gun ready to be wrapped for Ralphie, or milk and cookies that give you a much needed boost, or even a Christmas tree star just sharp enough to be used as a makeshift shiv. And to top it all off, both the monster and the location are illustrated by one of the greats in board game artwork, Vincent Dutrait. Look at this gorgeous stuff. Wow. Now you may be sitting there thinking to yourself, wow, Ben really loved this game. All he's had to say are positive things. And yeah, I really love this one. But I also have a couple complaints. Granted, this first one is not super concrete, and maybe it's not going to happen in every play. I don't know, I've only played 3 times so far. Basically, my one small disappointment is the present mechanism. Not its existence, but its execution, in my experience. In all of my plays of this game, I've had relatively few opportunities to actually open a present myself. As in all Final Girl games, the victims are typically spread out all over the board to start the game. So when Krampus starts dropping presents, it's the victims that are opening them left and right. And then there are a bunch of terror cards that move the victims around, often toward the presents. That has led to me as the Final Girl only opening 2 or 3 presents in all 3 of my plays. In one game, there was a present that I wanted to go to. It was only 1 space away, and I don't know, I had a good feeling about it. And then, in the killer phase, a terror card came up that moved a victim onto that present, and they opened it, and it was from Santa, so I had to watch as some loser elf took what was rightfully mine. Is this a huge deal? No, not at all. But it did make me root for Krampus when he killed that cheerful little elf. My other little gripe is the location board. Dutrait's artwork, obviously stunning, but it was a little tough to see the different areas on the board at a glance. If you look closely, the spaces and the panic numbers are clear, but when the board is across the table, I found myself leaning forward and moving pieces out of the way like every round. And finally, before I deliver my rating, I just have to say, what the hell is Santa doing during all this? I mean, clearly Mrs. Claus can handle it, but where is that guy? You can run into him in one of the events, and he helps out a little bit, but come on, dude. The Elf Union is not going to be happy when they find out you were snoozing in your long underwear while your entire workforce was being slaughtered. Anyway, the North Pole Nightmare? Ton of fun. And I want to give credit where it's due. Van Ryder Games got this box to backers in an incredibly quick amount of time. That's not going to factor into my rating, but it will factor into my excitement to support all their future projects. Enough beating around the Christmas bush. What's my score? Well, I'm torn between 7 swans a swimming and 8 maids a milking, so I'll go with a 7.5. This is a super solid addition to the Final Girl series, and the perfect game to play this holiday season, assuming you like a little blood in your snow. And with that, Board and Savior's last review of 2023 has been filmed. My last review, but you're not getting rid of me that easily. Check back on the 27th for my top 10 favorite games of all time, and stay tuned for a few little shorts along the way too. Whoa! Did you really think you were gonna get out of this video without some dumb final joke? Don't you know me better than that? Well, here it is. Here's the final joke. It's just my face. It's been a long year. Well, bye!